So we've thought about some things that help formation be nurtured and safe and an opportunity to be curious and open. But let's also look at the flip side. There's got to be some barriers that can get in the way, like something that can hinder formation, or maybe some times where people get stuck. Can you
Mm.
share some thoughts around that?
I remember we did some informal sort of surveying of kind of our tribe about a decade ago on this question.
Mm,
And there was like four or five big ones that kind of came to the surface, in which there's lots of different versions of each of them. But those five at the time, that these were kind of barriers or hindrances to our formation in Christ. What were these pastors noticing with the people they were walking with? And I mean, just a quick run through, they're all worth landing on. And I suspect we'll spend some time with them in Kelowna this fall. Busyness, so
mm,
pace, disappointment, depression
Hmm.
was an element that was just frustrating people's formation. Some sort of lack of freedom. And in that sense, there's an addictive behavior or behaviors,
mm,
uh, personal
mm.
suffering or trauma, like something that has happened to me that I just can't quite get over, that keeps on lingering. And then the last one among was this sort of apathy.
Yeah.
Acedia is the word historically, but it's a little deeper than just indifference. It's kind of a settled in apathy, and as a way to protect oneself, typically. And so that those were quiet hindrances, maybe not so quiet in some of those cases, but I do think what often one of the first layers when you ask any group about this is the pace of life
Hmm.
is
Absolutely.
just a massive one in terms of um, busyness, overactivity, those
Hmm.
sorts of things that has both a external element to it, but also an internal element to it. I mean, that was just sort of a survey list that we
Yeah.
gave,
Hmm.
but what for you guys, the question, what popped?
Well, to me, the biggest thing that hinders is space,
Mm,
whatever that means. I mean, space in my mind, space in my schedule, space in my heart.
mm,
It just, I can just feel uh, a vortex of not going a good place when there's an absence of space. And
Hmm.
when there is space, it's just like everything changes. Even in the hubbub or in a difficult time, painful time, if there's space in my heart and schedule and mind, the Lord is good to fill that.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think I would only add to all those things. What I see is sometimes the busyness is to avoid the shame that people feel deeply. And a lot of that shame comes from relational wounds, things that they've done, things that have done to them, and the quietness
Mm,
actually scares them. And
mm,
so I see we have a number of people in our church who are connected in the community in a small group. We call them table groups, but the lack of vulnerability because of that shame. And so, I mean, everyone's writing about a loneliness epidemic that we have. So we can have context for people to get connected, but
mm,
until the willingness to share a little bit more of what's actually going on, and that gets really hard. And so you can have all the people around you, you can even maybe afford some time, but that shame is just so tremendously
mm.
um, hinders kind of receiving the mercy and love of God. And a lot of that happens in the context of relationships. You know, we experience it through acceptance and holding space, and so I see this vicious circle with a lot of that.
Wow.